Hi, it's Pastor David Grisham here with Last Frontier Evangelism. Do you know Jesus? I know Jesus. Let's talk. Folks, today we're making a video here in Valley of the Moon Park. Now, a few days ago, this is in downtown Anchorage, a few days ago there was a double homicide in this park in which a young environmental activist was murdered. And a few feet away from him was also another man was murdered who might have been a homeless man. Now this is there's been a series of double homicides that have gone on in Anchorage over the last few months. There's been 2 more sets of double homicides and rumors going around that there is a serial killer loose in Anchorage. Now I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe it is and maybe it isn't. But what I can tell you is this. There is a serial killer on the loose in Anchorage. And that serial killer is the same one that's on the loose in every other city and every other town of this state and every nation and every village that's in this state. And his name is the devil. And he comes to steal, kill, and destroy, just as the Bible has said. Well, Jesus said that he has come to give life and life more abundantly. If you want life, and you want to be away from the things that steal, kill, and destroy, you have to come to Jesus Christ. Now today I wanted to talk about lawlessness. The Bible says that the law is for the lawless. We have laws in our country, and Romans chapter 13 talks about the governing authorities, how they are ministers of God, and how they do not bear the sword in vain, that if you do evil, be afraid, for they do not bear the sword in vain, for he is a minister of God, an avenger to execute wrath on those who would do evil. So we have law enforcement in our physical world to help protect us. We have governing authorities to help protect us from lawlessness. But ultimately, if you want true protection from the lawlessness of this world, you need to be protected from the spiritual lawlessness that gives the fuel to the physical lawlessness, because everything emanates from the spiritual to the physical. So what I'm saying is this: if you want your neighborhoods to be safe, then what you need to do is lead your neighbor to the God who will write his laws on the hearts of the lawless. That's what I'm saying. You need to lead your neighbor to Christ, and he will write his laws on your neighbor's heart, and your neighbor will not murder. Your neighbor will not steal. Your neighbor will not commit adultery with your wife. Your neighbor will not do any of these lawless deeds, because he will be serving God. And then it will be the desire of his heart to be lawful in the eyes of God rather than be lawless and be in sin. If you want your neighborhoods to be safer, lead your neighbors to Christ. That is the solution. You cannot hire enough police officers. You cannot have enough physical laws in this world. And I don't care who you elect as president or who is running the city or the country. If God is not the God of your heart, then you're not going to be led lawfully. And you're not going to have a safe neighborhood unless your neighbors are led by God. And if you don't know how to do that, if you don't know how to lead your neighbors to Christ, then contact us at lastfrontierevangelism@gmail.com, or we're on Facebook under Last Frontier Evangelism. We've got a website coming soon, or you can call me personally, Pastor Dave Grisham, at 806-382-3121, and we'll come to your church, or we'll come to your life group or your cell group and teach you how to be a witness for Christ and lead your neighbor to the Lord, so he will lead a lawful life and lawlessness will not abound in your neighborhood. Okay, folks, as a conclusion of this, I just wanted to show you this cross here at Valley of the Moon Park. This is apparently one of the victims. And as you can see, he's holding a pot cigarette in his hand right there, a joint in his hand. Folks, this cross is not going to do people much good after they die. This cross doesn't do this man any good at this point. The cross must come in the valley of decision. This is the Valley of the Moon Park, but the whole world is the valley of decision. And we have to make a decision to serve God. This man's soul has already been judged. This man's soul is either in heaven or is in hell, one of the two, depending on whether he served Christ or not. And this cross is not going to do him any good at this point. The cross only does any good to the people that are alive and can make the decision to serve Jesus Christ in their hearts, so they can have the atonement of the cross and make that decision before they die. You have got to reach these people before they get to this point. When they get to this point, it's too late. There's nothing else you can do for this man. You can pray till you're blue in the face. You can cry till there are no more tears left. And you can have all the memorial services and candlelight vigils that you want and put up all the little memorials and crosses that you want. And I guarantee you, none of it will do any good. The best memorial that you can do for the dead is to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ to the living. And perhaps when they die, they'll go to heaven, because this cross only does good for the living. God is a God of the living, not a God of the dead. He's beyond our help now, but there are others out there who are not. Get out of your churches, get out of your pews, and go out and preach the gospel of Jesus Christ, so that the people who murdered this man will not do those sorts of things. And if this man and if another person does get murdered, instead of going to hell, they would go to heaven. So if you need help with that, contact us at Last Frontier Evangelism, and we'll teach you how to do that.